The reason that the masks don't work, and neither do lockdowns, is because our mitigation strategy is built on a faulty premise. This is all being done to stop something called asymptomatic spread, meaning people who carry the virus but may not know it because they don't exhibit any of its major symptoms. Except the notion of asymptomatic spread as the tip of the spear of a contagion just so happens to violate the established norms and precedents of biology, virology, and immunology. Is that all? That we've already known for decades. As Anthony Fauci himself said back on January 28th, before all of this was politicized. Watch this.
But the one thing historically people need to realize that even if there is some asymptomatic transmission, in all the history of respiratory-borne viruses of any type, asymptomatic transmission has never been the driver of outbreaks. The driver of outbreaks is always a symptomatic person. Even if there's a rare asymptomatic person that might transmit, an epidemic is not driven by asymptomatic carriers.
What changed? What changed? He knew this. He told us this on January 28th. We knew this. So what changed? See, we are chasing ghosts here. Our entire mitigation strategy, assuming it's not some kind of psyop or cynical attempt to obtain unprecedented political power over the American people, is at best a well-intentioned sham, and the data proves it. A just published study in Nature looked at 10 million coronavirus tests conducted in Wuhan itself since May. 10 million. That's a pretty sizable sample. Here's what it found. Only 300 were asymptomatically positive. Out of 10 million, 300 were asymptomatically positive. That is 0.003%. None, zip, zilch, nada of the 1,174 contact traces that they did from these 300 asymptomatically positive cases. None of those people tested positive when they were tested. None of them were. None. Not a single one. By the way, this low positivity rate for the asymptomatic also calls into question the sensitivity thresholds of our testing, which the New York Times exposed back in August, remember? That story said our sensitivity levels are so high, we're counting as positives people that aren't even remotely infectious. The article the New York Times wrote at the time described these as, quote, viral artifacts. Let's get back to the matter at hand here, shall we, on asymptomatic spread. The World Health Organization admitted this spring, back in June, that asymptomatic transmission of coronavirus was, quote, very rare, unquote, before retracting the statement under pressure from the panic porn peddlers in the media at the time. But hey, you don't want to trust a nature study from China? I don't blame you. So how about one from right here in the good old US of A? The University of Florida found those with symptoms were 28 times more likely to transmit coronavirus than those asymptomatic. Not 2 times, not 4 times, not 5, not 10, not 15, not even 20. 28 times more likely to transmit the virus if they were symptomatic over the asymptomatic, according to a study done a couple of months ago at the University of Florida. Again, assuming this all isn't just some government power grab, we decided to lock down the healthy and put a face diaper on everyone, regardless of sickness, because we were afraid of masses of asymptomatic people would unknowingly bring the virus home and kill grandma. Except history has already taught us that that's not how outbreaks work, as Fauci himself said back in January, and the data confirms that's not how this one spreads either. Therefore, the lockdowns and masks cannot work no matter how many times we try them, because they are built on a premise that goes against the established laws of science. This is why we've never done this for an outbreak before. This is why you haven't been wearing masks every flu season of your whole lives. No matter how bad it gets, and the flu season 2 years ago, by the way, was really bad. 60 some odd thousand people died. Prior to coronavirus, we knew this about asymptomatic spread. So what changed, I ask again? Why did we abandon science for flat earthism? Why did we abandon rational ground for fear and loathing? There are several potential answers to that question, and all of them are bad. And none of them would be based on real science either.